After your road materials and testing chapter, next is your traffic engineering, so which comprises of a major section in your syllabus. So in traffic engineering, this chapter is basically dealing with the traffic characteristics, where basically traffic characteristics are the road user characteristics, vehicular characteristics. So in short, it is a human, vehicle and environment system. Okay, and it also deals with the theory of traffic flow, the traffic stream parameters, that is the speed, flow as well as density of a traffic. Then the intersection design, the traffic signal design as well as the highway capacity. So these are the topics. So first, initially, that what is basically the traffic engineering. So according to the definition of traffic engineering by the Institute of Traffic Engineers, that it is a phrase of transportation engineering. Okay, so transportation basically it is means that here the desire of people to move and their need for goods create the demand for transportation. Means the people's preferences in terms of time, money, comfort and convenience prescribe the mode of transportation used, and that mode is available to the user or not. So the application of the technological, the scientific principles to the planning, the functional design, operation, the management of the traffic facilities, the transportation facilities for any mode. So that is basically the transportation engineering part. So here the traffic engineering basically deals with the planning, the geometric design, the traffic operations of road, the various streets, highways and their networks, and the terminals, the relationship with the mode of transportation. So that is also a vital here, in that is the utility with respect to other mode of transportation. But on the other side, traffic engineering is also that branch of engineering that deals with the improvement of traffic performance on road network through systematic traffic studies and the engineering applications for the scientific analysis regarding the traffic network. So it basically the traffic engineering, that total as a whole, it includes proper planning as well as the geometric design in one hand, as well as on the other hand the regulation and control of that traffic. Okay, so therefore it deals with the application of scientific principles, the tools, techniques for safe, rapid, economical as well as the efficient movement of the goods. So for following that, so it is considered that there are the 3 E's in traffic engineering. So that basically represent the engineering, education and the enforcement. So the 3 E's. So that is also a vital question, that is what are the 3 E's of the traffic engineering, that is the engineering, education and enforcement. So basically this comprises a certain framework. So in that framework, the engineering, so by applying the engineering, it basically aims to improve the existing transportation infrastructure as well as the factor in safety when designing new transportation infrastructure. So basically that engineering section includes the identifying as well as the developing solutions for a known safety problem areas, the reviewing of standard of road development and moving towards safety road forum for the customized of local conditions, the conducting of safety, the road safety audit. So these are the part of engineering. Then comes the education. So in India, the traffic as well as in many developing countries also, it is a heterogeneous nature where a variety of vehicular categories are there and the available road space is occupied by different classes of vehicle with varying characteristics. But the problem becomes more complicated here when the road space is also shared by the pedestrian or the common people on the road for their movement. So pedestrian are the people who are moving by walking, basically by walking. So these are the pedestrians are also there. So for their safety we have to also consider. So education here, pedestrian safety is both for the driver as well as the pedestrian responsibility. So the safety tips for pedestrian, that is making eye contact with the driver so that you can see them. You have to be always cautious and pay attention to the traffic, as drivers sometimes disobey traffic signal or not able to stop due to weathering conditions. Means our cautiousness while we are walking on a road, or the using of the designated crossing point, the obey pedestrian traffic signs and signal, means whenever there is a red signal we have to move on that lane. Then we have to look left and right, and again before stepping we have to follow the nearby vehicles also. So suppose if we are walking at night or in a poor weather, so that time we have also to be cautious. And the means when we are basically we walk along the road edges. So when the street is clear, so we have to, for crossing purpose also, we have to make our steps in such a manner. So in that case education is required, as well as for the pedestrian as well as for the drivers. So for drivers it is basically the drivers have to be aware of pedestrian who appear suddenly or inattentive way. So the drivers have to watch out the pedestrians when backing up your vehicle. Say always you have to be alert, especially at the intersections. So these all comes under the education part. While enforcement, so enforcement is basically what the safer cities or the smart cities they target for controlling the accidents or crashes. Means the application of the traffic rules, their aspects as well as the signs, and their enforcement, means to apply that. So these three are the traffic engineering, the 3 E's of traffic engineering. So next, moving on to the objectives of traffic engineering. So the primary objective is safety. For the traffic movement, safety is of major concern, and the other objectives are linkage with the speed, the comfort, the convenience and efficiency, the economy, as well as the environmental compatible movement. So as a whole, the basic objective of traffic engineering is to achieve efficient, free and rapid flow of traffic with least number of traffic accidents. So mainly the objective is surrounded by the easy and smooth flow of traffic at intersections, to develop methods for improvement and for solving specific problem with respect to the traffic, whereas the safe movement or the comfortable movement of transport of persons as well as goods, then to improve the speed of vehicles, so there should not be always congestion, then to increase the traffic carrying capacity of the road also, to make the streets safe for the movement for both pedestrian as well as vehicles, then to reduce the delay in the road journeys, that is also a vital part, to reduce the delays in the road journey, as well as to remove the traffic congestion and to provide sufficient parking area for the vehicles also. So these are all as a traffic engineering objectives. So next is traffic as a system, or that is the traffic characteristics. Okay, so basically the study of traffic characteristics is the most essential part for any improvement in traffic facilities. The traffic characteristics sometimes are quite complex, with the various types of road users on the road moving with different motives, that is the way of moving, the purpose of moving. So basically the trips or their movement are sometimes considered, that is in a model, as a model wise it has been that the trip generation or the trip distribution means why they want to move, then how will they move outside, what are the modes of transport they will choose. Okay, so basically the human psychology has to be given a particular attention, that is here the users, the road as well as the users as well as the vehicle. The study of vehicular characteristics is also an essential part. So apart from this, the studies to be carried out on the actual traffic include the speed, volume, the capacity, then these are the traffic flow characteristics. So that will be discussed in the latter part. So first is discussing on the road user characteristics and basically the vehicular characteristics. So for the road user characteristics, the involvement of human or the human element is involved in all the actions of road, either as a pedestrian or a cyclist or a cart driver, motor driver. So the various factors which affect the road user characteristics, they are classified under various categories. So they are the physical type, mental, then psychological, the environmental factors. So there are various factors there. So psychological factors, they basically affect the reaction to traffic situation. Okay, so here the factors, that is the in case of psychological factors, the emotional factors such as attentiveness, the attitude, the fear, anger, the superstition, the attitude towards traffic and regulation, as well as the maturity, the intelligence. So these comes under this psychological factor category, where basically the distractions by the non-traffic event and worries reduce attentiveness to traffic situation. So sometimes some dangerous actions are likely because of the impatience. And that psychological features are also termed here as the PIEV that you have earlier read. So that is the perception here for the P, the intellection, your emotion and volition. So PIEV process is same here for the psychological characteristics. So like perception is the process of perceiving the sensations received through the sensory organs, the eyes, ears, skin, nose and the brain. Okay, the intellection, which means basically the identification of the stimuli by the development of new thoughts and ideas. Then emotion is the individual trait of the person governing his decision making process. Then volition is the will to react to a situation. So the PIV concept is also similar here for the psychological factors. Then comes the physical factors. So that physical factors or the physical characteristics of a human being, it can be further subdivided into these parts. Okay, where the physical characteristics of the road user, it may be temporary or it may be a permanent one. So here the vision. So vision plays the important role in all of these. That is the acuity or the precision of vision, the eye movement, the depth judgment, everything is based on the vision. Okay, apart from that, the glare vision or the recovery of the glare, the time of passengers, the time of drivers basically, that play an important role during night also, based on the glare of the vehicles coming from other vehicles. Basically, further safety of the traffic depends upon the ability of the road users in seeing traffic light, traffic sign, vehicle on the road, safe gap, that is the distance between the two vehicles, and the safe crossing places. So basically the drivers are also able to cross, overtake, stop, accelerate and deaccelerate their vehicles on seeing the road conditions, traffic conditions, the environmental conditions which affect the safe traffic movement. And apart from the vision, the reaction of the driver, the motor skills, that is the presence of that mind as well as the skill for the driving, the hearing is also an important part of the physical factors. So here hearing is basically the horn's alert or the alert by the sound of the horn for the road user. Okay. So overview wise, so the road user characteristics are basically, that is the physical, the psychological, the mental as well as some environmental part also. So apart from the physical and psychological, in terms of mental, so the mental factors include the knowledge, skill, intelligence, experience, literacy, which affect the road user characteristics. So the knowledge of vehicle characteristics, the traffic behavior, driving practice, the rules of road, and as well as some psychology of the road users, it is useful for the safe traffic movement. So the reaction regarding the certain traffic situations sometimes become more spontaneous with experience. Then understanding the traffic regulation as well as the instructions provided on the road users, that is that depends upon the intelligence also, that is based on the traffic signs, not even that is the red, green, okay, or yellow. It is sometimes the signs that are provided, that is the speed limit signboard, that is no entry signboard or turning signboard. So that basically is related with the literacy also. Then for the environmental factors, so the various environmental conditions also affect the behavior of road user as well as the traffic stream parameters, that is the roadside feature, atmospheric condition, locality. Okay, basically the traffic consists of the mixed traffic conditions or heavy traffic condition. So sometimes if the percentage of slow moving vehicles is high, then the need of overtaking increases for the faster vehicles. Okay, that is that you have to adapt to the different traffic conditions, depend upon the driver characteristics as well as its knowledge for overtaking. And finally, apart from these factors, there are certain temporary characteristics also that depends on, suppose the drug consumption, alcohol consumption, sometimes the excess workload, illness, fatigue, then the emotion of anger. So these also affect the road users while as a pedestrian or as a driver during the driving. And then the another part is for the human factors, that is the PRT time, that is your perception reaction time here, that is basically linked with your that PIV theory, that your reaction or from the perceiving an object to the final making a decision. So that time taken, that varies from person to person and that depends on certain factors also. Okay. Next is that is the PIV theory, so that I have earlier discussed and that is known to you also, I think. Then the next characteristics is the vehicular characteristics. So it is basically important to study the various vehicle characteristics which affect the design of road facilities as well as the traffic performance. So it is basically because that regarding design for any road, that for the vehicle, the width of the vehicle is also vital there, that is that I have earlier discussed, that is sometimes the dimension of the vehicles, that is also is very vital regarding the construction of any traffic facilities there. So the various vehicular characteristics that affect the road design, it may be classified as static as well as the dynamic. So the static characteristics of vehicles are the dimension, that involves basically the dimensions, the length, weight, the maximum turning angle as well as the wheelbase, the center clearance, the height of the vehicle. It basically affects the clearance of the overhead structure. Suppose it is moving under a overbridge and that height that times or any underpass is very vital, and the height of the driver's seat, it also affects the visibility distance. Along with that, the height of headlight affects the headlight sight distances at certain curves. Even the vision ahead of the drivers also depends on the design of windshield and the front position of the vehicle body, where basically the clearance below the chassis. It is linked with the humps as well as certain dips. The length of vehicle, it affects the capacity, the overtaking distance of the vehicles. Even the turning radius depends on the length of the wheelbase and the feature of the steering system. And basically this affects the design of sharp curves for the turning of the vehicles at slow speeds also. Even the weight of the vehicle is vital, because for the structural design of pavement and the cross sectional structure, basically that weight of the vehicle is vital. Based on that, the axle load calculation is done, that we have earlier read in our the flexible pavement design part. And these are the, in short, the characteristics, that is for the static and dynamic one. So from this part some numericals may come, that is depending on the average skid resistance of the pavement surface, that depends on basically the speed as well as the braking distance or the frictional force that is acting there. So similar type of numerical you have done in your geometric design, I think, that is where the initial speed will be given to you. So you have to calculate the braking distance, that is basically that u square by 2 gf, that is the braking distance. Then from that you can calculate the average skid resistance value. Okay. So some numericals may come from that part. Your next part is the PCE, the passenger car equivalence or passenger car unit. So basically different classes of vehicle such as car, bus, truck, the motorcycle, bullock carts are found in the common roadways. So without segregation on most of the roads, that is that I have earlier told, that is the traffic conditions are mostly the heterogeneous or the mixed traffic conditions. So here the flow of traffic with the unrestricted mixing of different vehicle types, it forms the heterogeneous traffic flow. And the different vehicle classes, they are having a wide range of that static characteristics, that is the length, weight, etc. The dynamic characteristics such as speed, acceleration. So apart from that, the behavior of driver of different vehicle classes is found to be vary. Okay. So therefore the mixed traffic flow characteristics is much more complex here. So in order to reduce that, a common practice is considered, that is the passenger car equivalency or the passenger car unit, to categorize the vehicle. Okay. So that is the presence of the different speed, that is the heavy, the slower vehicles within the traffic stream, that reduces the traffic capacity or sometimes create congestion also. And this reduction increases with the participation of the heavy vehicles in the stream. Suppose in a traffic stream suddenly a truck enters, that mostly we have seen during our college hours, that whenever we are entering to that traffic stream, if a larger size vehicles enters that stream, then the speed of the other vehicles gets affected. They cannot move in a free flow speed. Then they occupy more space on the road, as characterized by the say longer reaction time to the traffic situations also. Then related to the determination of the conditions in the traffic stream, that mixed traffic conditions, these are converted into real vehicles, into passenger car equivalents. Okay. So there are certain factors provided, that a passenger car is considered as one. So based on that, the other vehicles are categorized, and that categorization depends on various factors. and that factors include, that is, the dimension, speed, power, braking characteristics, as well as the gap between the moving vehicles, then the driver characteristics, then the traffic composition also. So that factors depends on these conditions, and based on that the values are selected. Means it does not indicate here that is a small bullock cart 6 is having, means it occupies a larger space. It does not occupy a larger space, but when it enters a traffic stream, because of its very slow movement, it affects the other movement of the traffic. So that's why, so that unit varies here. So up to this, your initial, that is the traffic conditions based on road user as well as the vehicular characteristics are discussed. In the next part, I will discuss the traffic stream characteristics. So from that part, your major traffic engineering section will continue.